Welcome back, you beautiful people, and today we're doing an updated guide for Oblivion controllers. Now, my last video was fine and it seems to work for most of you guys, but we've had a few issues it not working. So I've tried to do this again, but simpler, and I've changed my mind on Northern UI, which is what makes the controller port work. I decided to give the normal standard version of Northern UI a try on Oblivion, and it is by far a much better way to play Oblivion on Steam Deck, as the controller support is much better, and then you get icons like, you know, button prompts and all that are correct. So it makes the game work like Skyrim, and that's actually not a bad thing. It makes the map and all of the menus Skyrim-esque, and it's actually a lot easier to navigate on Steam Deck that way. And so I thought I would redo this guide, try and make it as simple as possible, as well as give, I think, the definitive way to play Oblivion on Steam Deck. If you have any comments or thoughts on it, please let me know. And if you find this video helpful and you get right through to the end, give us a like or a sub, whatever you feel like. I realize this is a guides channel and I cover games, so not always stuff you're going to want to see, but just letting you throw that out there. Okay, let's get on with the guide. And 3, 2, 1. First things first, remember to download the game and load it up once, just so the game's working, and then jump over to desktop mode. Alright, once you've headed over to desktop mode, there's 3 things we're going to want to download. They'll be in the links in the description below, so you could just load up this video on YouTube through the browser and then just click on them and download them. As you see here, we have Obse 22.10 beta. This one seems to work the best for me, but if you don't want to use this one, you know, let me know how you go with a different one. So that is the first thing we're going to need, and probably the most important. Then we need Skybsa. Again, is another support mod that makes all this work. And you will have to use Nexus mods, so make sure you sign in, as I am doing here. Once you're logged in, you should be able to go into your downloads. The Skybsa is a pretty straightforward one to download. And then once that's done, we have one more left, which is Northern UI through Nexus mods. And make sure when you do that, you go for the standard version. As you can see here, you go to download, and then if you scroll down, it will give you, you'll have Northern UI, or there's the vanilla version, which we did in the last video. We just want the normal one this time, and just do it as a slow download. And I'll meet you once we've got them downloaded. After you've downloaded everything, head over to your downloads folder. In there, you're going to see some zipped folders of the BSA, your Northern UI, and your OBSE. Now, what you're going to want to do is make a couple of new folders for OBSE and for Northern UI, because when you extract them, there's going to be a whole heap of folders and files, and you really don't want them getting all messed up. So the easiest way is to make some folders and then move the zip into it and then extract from within. Don't extract directly into the Oblivion folder, because you may end up with some issues there. That's what the internet says, and so I haven't been doing it, and doing it this way has been working fine. So that is my recommendation. You don't need to do it with the Skybsa, because it's quite a simple file structure for that one. You can just extract that to your downloads folder if you so desire, but if you wanted to put it in a folder, you can if you want. Once those are done, make sure you take out those zip folders. You can either delete them or put them back in the downloads folder. I put them back in the downloads folder in case I needed to do it again if something has gone horribly wrong, and it just gives me that ability to do it again. So yeah, we'll just extract these files out, and then we're going to head over to Steam, go to our library, find Oblivion, and then we're going to right click on it using the left trigger on the Steam Deck, and we're going to go open containing files, which will take you directly to the Oblivion folder where these are going to get copy and pasted to. So we'll move on to that step once we've finished this, and I'll let this play out. Later in this video, I also want to point out, if you're still working your way through this, I am going to have how to set up the controller for the quick menu. So please don't miss that. That's really important, and making sure that you change your controller over in game mode to a standard controller setup. So please make sure you watch all the way through so you don't miss any of the guide. All right, back to the video. Right, we've got our downloads and we've got our Oblivion folder. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put in the small case OBS folder in first to our Oblivion folder. Okay, you don't want to copy in the zip folder there, so I just take that back out and put that back in our downloads folder in case we need it again. You might not, but just in case. So what you want to do is just going to copy this and paste it in the Oblivion folder. Now you're going to see that it's going to ask me to overwrite and write into. Make sure you accept both of those, and for all folders. I'm going to get a few more of these because I've already done it, but you may have these as well. So make sure you write into and overwrite. Just say yes to all of it. Once we've done that one, we're going to head back to our downloads. We'll get our OBSE with our Skybsa in it. Now we want to copy that high capitaled one from the beginning. We're going to paste that in here too. Again, it's going to ask us to write into and overwrite, and just say yes and yes. And then finally, we have our Northern UI, which is by far the most important one. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy all of these, and we're going to go back to our Oblivion, and we're going to put these in the data file. Okay, paste these in here. Now if this doesn't work, paste them in the Oblivion folder as well. It's not going to hurt either way, but this should work like this. And then we have one more step to do after this, which is our command line prompt, which I'll also have in the description below, and I'll show you that right now. So what we're going to do once we're in the Oblivion folder, we're going to go back one to common, where all of our Steam games are installed. We're going to find the Oblivion folder. We're going to right click on it by pulling the left trigger, and we're going to go open command terminal here. You're going to copy the command line that I've posted in the description and paste it here. And then once you've done that, you're going to hold the Steam button, push X, which brings up the Steam keyboard. And then you're just going to pull right trigger, and that should run the script, and that will get us all up and running. And from there, we can go back to game mode, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to game mode. First things first is we're going to go to controller here, and make sure it is set on templates and gamepad with joystick controller, okay? And make sure you apply that, because we don't want to use one of the random templates from the Steam community, since we have got native controller support. When you come up to your play screen, this here does not have any controller support, so I just tap play with my finger, or you can use hold the Steam button and use the right trackpad. You'll know I've done it right because you'll see the load screens now look Skyrim-esque, and we are in the money here. As you can see here, there's a ton of options in the controller sensitivity. You can rebind things, so you don't have to keep the controls as they are, but I think they've got them pretty well set up here, and you can really have a good play with it. I find this menu system is far more navigatable than the actual Oblivion one. So you may want to go through here and turn everything up to max. And like I did, I played with all the settings, turning everything up as far as they can. There's a weird thing where you can either have HDR or anti-AA. So I went for HDR. I don't know whether that's the right choice or not, but there you go. As you can see here, I've gone ahead and like mixed everything up. And now we're going to load in. As you can see, I'm on OLED, so we're getting almost a flat 90 here, which is pretty cool for this game. And here we are. Look at this. We've got the Skyrim map up the top there, which is actually quite nice for finding stuff. And we've also got, you just need to turn the control sensitivity up. 1 seemed a bit slow, so chucking up to 3 seemed to be about right for me. I was like, oh yeah, there we are. We can move around, and all of our spells and abilities. We've got, here's our inventory, which is fully controller driven and makes a lot more sense than trying to use the Oblivion vanilla version, which I found, while worked and most of you guys agreed, this is actually much easier to get between spells and abilities. And as you can see, everything's got button prompts and is correct. And the map is actually controller driven here. It's a little bit slow. As you can see here, it moves at a little bit of a snail's pace, but it actually is controller driven, which is quite nice. And of course you could use a mouse, which we'll cover later in this video, for moving around this a little bit faster. As you can see here, you can go to your journal. And this is actually a lot easier to read than on the other one. Funnily enough, because of the black and white text, it's actually simpler to read. And you can go through it and look at all your stuff. So this is the mixture of triggers and bumpers to scroll through all these pages, okay? But this is, while yes, it's not original Oblivion, I think this is a much more manageable way of playing the game in terms of getting to equipment, items, and abilities a lot faster. Okay, and that also means that when you talk to people, it works in a much better way here. As you can see here, we jump in. I think this looks a little bit choppy because of the way I've recorded it. I don't think the program I was recording it with might not be happy with 90 frames per second. So I'm very sorry about it. It's buttery smooth on my end. I promise you that. As you can see with the flat 90, okay? So it's not jerky as you can see in this video. I think it's just the way I've recorded it. So I apologize for that. And we're going to jump ahead to some other stuff. Okay, welcome back. And what we're going to do here now is set up the quick bar menu so you can quickly go to spells and abilities without having to do it from the menu every time you want to change spells. So what you want to do is you're going to go down to your trackpads here, and you're going to set your left trackpad as a radical menu. I just called mine quick. You can call it whatever you want. And then there's only a few settings here that you're going to need to do, but I'll go through it all with you so you can copy it and go along. So first things here, I don't use the center one because that is a mistake, I feel. Don't use the center one, okay? Stay away from the center button because it'll make life miserable. And then head over to keyboard, and you just want to go through 1 through 8, and I'll speed through this. Once we've done that, what you're going to want to do is make clicking the left thumb trackpad in as a left click on the mouse. You'll understand why in a moment. And you're also going to change the right trackpad to a mouse, okay? Because it will all come clear momentarily, okay? And you also want to make sure you set the left trackpad to continuous, otherwise this won't work. Okay, it's really important. It needs to be continuous. And then, yes, set the right trackpad as mouse. Okay, easy as that. Done. Now, you'll see here we'll have a quick menu that will show up when you hold one of these buttons. So what we're going to want to do here is when you want to set something to your quick menu, use the right trackpad to select something, so the lover's kiss, and then you push the direction on the left trackpad and click it in to lock that ability into that slot. Right, I know that sounds really confusing. Use the right trackpad to mouse over it. You then want to use the left trackpad to put it on the number you want and then click it, okay? And that is how you can set spells, weapons, and items to your quick bar menu, all right? And you can see here, you can now switch between things on the fly. It is a slightly janky, I'm going to admit it's not perfect, but it will get the job done, okay? So that is my recommendation for the quick use menu and how to set it up. Right, and then I'm going to just we'll go into a dungeon and we'll fight some monsters with this new beautiful UI. Alright, we're just going to run through this dungeon here. I'm not going to talk over all of this. This is just to show you how Northern UI is working and that I got the quick buttons working. And I just wanted to finish off by saying thank you to you guys for watching this video. And I realize it's only been a few months since the last version of this, but honestly, this is definitely the best way to play Oblivion with the standard Northern UI and not the vanilla, which at the time I was like, nah, you've got to use vanilla, but in all honesty, this is much more controller friendly and a lot more useful in terms of what shows up on the map at the top. So that's my 2 cents. I'm glad you guys made it all the way through. Let me know what you think and tell me if you're going to be playing some Oblivion. Alright guys, enjoy the rest of the video and we'll see you in the next one.